just when you thought it was safe to go onto iTunes. This is Next Level Guy, the only website that makes self-development as fun as going to the movies. It's time to take the red pill and escape the Matrix.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Next Level Guy Show podcast with your host, Ian Dawson-Mackay. Today's guest is entrepreneur and founder of Beardbrand Eric Bandholz. He's built up a very successful business in teaching and providing men with amazing grooming products and great advice on how to build your facial hair into your own individual style. In this interview, we discuss beards, business, grooming hacks, and how to make your facial hair represent the true you. Before we get into that though, a quick word about our affiliates. I've managed to build up some great relationships, as you probably know, with some awesome companies. This allows me to obtain some special discount codes, deals, and listener exclusives. Please go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates for all the info. I'm particularly loving the Gains box and its awesome fitness goodies, which can be sent straight to your door. The delicious protein from the Protein Works, which has helped me get through a lot of heavy gym sessions, Alpha Brain, which is a cognitive enhancer from Onnit, and some awesome steaks from those great people Muscle Food, which is amazing with some fried veg and some chips if you want a great cheat meal. And there's so much more. Simply go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates. And now to the interview with Eric. I hope you enjoy. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and I really appreciate it. But for those few people who probably haven't heard of you now, can you just give a quick little 30-second intro, you maybe give to somebody in a party, of who you are and why you're well known?
Cool. What's up, Internet? It is your boy, Eric Bandholz. I am the founder of Beardbrand. Beardbrand is a men's grooming company that serves products to our customers and our fans all around the world. We have products for your beard, for your hair, for your skin, and we also have tons of content. So we have a growing YouTube channel, which surpassed 500,000 just recently, and a great Instagram account and blog as well.
And congratulations on your success. You've got a terrific site, you've got a massive following. It's every time I come on there's something. Even for somebody like me who can't grow a decent beard, there's something to attract every guy that every guy should check out. But was there a point that made you start this? What got you into the grooming world, so to speak?
Yeah, so the story really goes back years. So it depends on at what point in my life you wanna ask where I started. But for me, I always wanted to grow facial hair. I always wanted sideburns or a little goatee or mustache or whatever it may be. And I always felt pressure to not have a beard. Specifically in college, when I was applying for jobs, they said the first thing you should always do is shave your beard. And then I got a job in sales, and there's a lot of pressure in sales to be this all-American crew cut look. So for the first 10 years of my career, I never felt the confidence to be able to grow a beard out. And what had happened is I had run into this charity called Beards Because out of Charlotte, North Carolina, when I lived in Charlotte. And they had this thing where they would raise money for battered women. And they would do that through growing your beard out for a month. So I participated in that. That was probably 2008 or 2009. And that was the first time I really grew my beard out for a month or longer, and really connected with the process and kind of got wooed into it a little bit. But life would continue on where I just kind of grew a beard, shaved it off, grew a beard, shaved it off. And then I lost my job during the recession of 2008, 2009, and decided to start growing my beard out longer than a month. So it was during this period I grew it out for a little bit. And to me at the time, it was really big and burly. It was only, a couple months of beard growth. But I started to connect with other like-minded people. I started to get really into growing my beard. I started actually writing about growing a beard. And this process, this journey coincided with me moving to Spokane, Washington with my wife. And I got a job again, like I got another job. So I shaved the beard off again. I got a job as a financial advisor. I felt that pressure again to be someone who I wasn't. And this was like the true breaking point for me, where I had like committed to something I didn't believe in. I committed to a look that I didn't believe in. And finally, I quit working there. I grew my beard out for good. And I met other like-minded people who were both like salespeople and professionals and designers and, stay-at-home dads and just ordinary dudes who didn't fit the traditional stereotypes of what a bearded guy was. And figured, heck, I think there's a community of us, and I want to be the guy to unite this community and give them the tools they need to feel confident about taking care of their beard. So Beardbrand was always about uniting the community and providing information and education. And then, the products actually came about a year later as guys were looking for, how do they physically take care of their beard rather than how do they just know how to take care of it.
And do you think the interest in beards, has that changed recently? Has there always been a kind of an interest for men to have beard? Does that show like masculinity, dominance? Can you be a man without a beard in some societies? What does a beard signify to you?
Yeah, so like if you look at the historical aspect of facial hair, you'll notice that I think it was like the 1860s, 70s, 80s, sometime around there where we had quote unquote peak beard, and it was something like 90% of guys were rocking some form of facial hair, whether it be sideburns, a mustache, a full beard, or a goatee. And then what you saw was, in my opinion, two major factors which drove guys to get rid of their beards. And that was modern warfare, which required guys to wear gas masks and for their safety, to be able to breathe, to shave off their beards. And then you also saw the success of Gillette and the incredible abilities they had to generate a great product at an affordable price with great marketing. And those two factors drove facial hair literally down to, single-digit percentage. And through the internet and through access to information, I think a lot of guys are just getting back to the balance and the norm. So I do think it's a little bit of a rebound. I don't think I think there's always going to be an evolution in the trends. But to say a guy isn't a man if he doesn't have facial hair, I think that's a load of crap. I think a guy should be free to choose to grow his beard or free to shave it off if that's what he wants to do, and really just be the guy that he wants to be. And to me, that is masculinity, just being aware of yourself and being the person you want to be.
Yeah, because that's the thing, guys judge each other on things where they maybe they don't know enough about the person. So it's like, am I bigger than the person? Do I have bigger muscles? Have I got better facial hair? We look for signs of masculinity in other people. But what, in your opinion, makes a good man? You mentioned a few sort of trinkets there, but what do you think? Like, say if you're picking a new friend or somebody for a daughter or something like that, what would make a good man in your opinion?
To me, the things that I associate with, they're not necessarily limited to men, but I think what would make a good man is just that personal accountability, someone who does what they say they're going to do, someone who's willing to lead in their own way, someone who can be counted on, someone who can provide. I think those are kind of masculine traits in my mind. But of course, they're not exclusive to men as well.
So one thing you did was you took something very masculine, which is like growing a beard and facial hair and that sort of thing, and you've mixed it with what a lot of people, maybe the more immature people would say the feminine side of like the scents and grooming and stuff like that. So how did you take something like that and merge the two of them together and make it so appealable to people, because you've got such a big fan base? How did you start making like beard oils and scents and caring about our grooming, etc.? How did you make that appealing to like the modern day guys?
Yeah, guys are funny creatures. They see like, oh, these oils for your beards. It's so, as you say, feminine. I'm like, well, I don't know many women who are putting products into their beards, but but I get it. Like there are, we're in the same industry. The industry they call us is health and beauty, and it's funny. Like you can't call that to guys. You can't call our products beauty products. They have to be grooming products, and so there's things like that where you just kind of use words that help them not feel feminine, but at the same time, guys have been using grooming products all their life. Deodorant, shaving cream, shampoo, conditioner, aftershave, cologne. What else are they using? Just like they're using them all the time, and it's one more item. And where does a bar of soap differ from a beard oil? To me, it's not any different. It's a product that you use to enhance your look and to invest in yourself, just like a bar of soap is. Helps you smell nice. Bar of soap helps you smell nice. So I don't know. I think some people are a little insecure with their own masculinity, and they'll accuse things of being feminine because they're not quite sure that if they are masculine or not.
Yeah, that bugs me. It's the fact that, oh, you can't show any femininity into your personality, and some people get scared of it, and I just think it's just nonsense. So the name of the business is a bit weird. Where did that name come from? Did you just think, okay, I need a name for my brand, Beardbrand, or was what was the thinking involved in it?
Yeah, I wish, what is the thinking involved in that? I wish I had more thinking involved in my life. I just kind of do things. So sometimes like inspiration just comes into my mind, and sometimes it comes from other places. At this point in my life, I was a fan of a company called Beardbrand, and I really liked what they were doing. So Beardbrand was inspired by I guess their name slightly. And I just liked the ring of it. I liked the symmetrical aspect of the two words. They're both 5 characters. And it just really rolls off your tongue really well. And at the time, it doesn't make any sense. Like beard brand, like what the hell is that? Like fingernail brand or hair brand or eye brand or something like that for, glasses company or shampoo company or a nail polish company. All those don't make sense. But with Beardbrand, essentially, we've created this whole way to describe an industry, and a lot of other competitors will describe themselves as beard brands, or media will refer to companies as beard brands. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have created a cool sounding word.
I mean, it's certainly something that sticks in the mind, and it's one of those brands when I mention it to other people that everybody was kind of aware of it. It kind of, it does exactly what it says in the tin. So can you go into a little bit about how the business started? I mean, you have some working partners. Was it just a case of that you brought some friends together and you were interested? Or did you start seeing that there was a need for these kind of products, or there was a need for the business? Was it a case of you just wanted to build a community first and then you thought, oh, there's a good chance to make money out of this? Or, was it always an idea to start making products and build it from there?
Yeah, the vision was always to unite what we called urban beardsmen and provide them the community and the lifestyle that they wanted. When I first had the vision for Beardbrand, it was not grooming products, but it was actually lifestyle products. And I thought that was going to be the key item that united the product and helped fund the mission to provide these tools and tools in education. But it ends up that grooming products were more regarded from our audience than apparel and lifestyle products. So when it came to the start, I was really active in the startup community in Spokane, Washington, where I lived at the time. And I went to an event called Startup Weekend, where you essentially work on a bootstrap business or a small MVP concept over the course of the weekend, and you give a presentation on it, what your idea was and what you're able to accomplish. And it was at one of these events that I worked with my co-founders, Jeremy and Lindsay, and we realized that we saw the world with very similar vision. You know, we were both very driven by our own accountabilities. We both said we would do what we would do, or all three of us, and we were both hungry and passionate for what we're working on. So it was after this startup weekend that we said, hey, let's try to start a real business. You know, what can we do? And I had already created the blog Beardbrand and the YouTube channel Beardbrand and had some content. So I offered them an opportunity to join me in building this business and take advantage of some press that we were getting and see if we might be able to sell some products, convert it into an e-commerce business. So I'm very lucky that they decided to invest their time and had faith in our relationships. And you know, what do they say? The rest is history.
So when you started this business, can you go into a little bit about, you know, like how did you get used to working with other people? Were there certain sort of routines? Like how did you delve up the business work? How did you make sure that, because, you know, you took something for that, you were working individually and started incorporating other people into the project. So how did you make sure it ran smoothly, that, you know, resolve conflicts and that sort of thing? Did it just fit smoothly, or did you have any sort of pressing problems as time went on?
I don't think it's ever run smoothly, Ian. I think it's always been a grind. I wish I could just say I roll in and it's like everything's a well-oiled machine, and I think we do a lot, but at the same time, if things are running really smoothly, then you're probably not pushing the comfort level of your business enough. You're probably not innovating and disrupting in areas that you could be. So I almost feel uncomfortable if everything was running smoothly. But yeah, the journey was really organic. You know, we're a bootstrap business. We're not funded by, you know, multimillionaires. We're not sitting on, you know, millions of dollars in the bank to launch this. We're not like this strategic, I've got this product, how do I launch and sell it? It's really like a passion project for me. It's something that I love. And it was, you know, at various stages of the business, we had various expectations. In those early days, the first expectation, those first few months was like, hey, maybe I can make a few extra bucks on the side. And then it morphed into, hey, maybe this could be a full-time job for me. And then it moved into, hey, you know, maybe Lindsay can join the company and it could be her full-time job. And then it became, you know, hey, maybe we can build something that is sustainable and will last and operate without me and Lindsay in the day-to-day and something that can grow on its own. So we've been flexible with the vision of what the business could be. And, you know, I think we would have been happy with any aspect of the business, whether it be a side hustle or whether it be, you know, a multi-million-dollar business with, you know, hundreds of employees or whatever it may grow into.
No, I mean, I've always loved the passion and the love that you can feel, like when you talk about the business, that it's just, even if it was a smaller version of what it is now, I know that you would still be into it, you still give 100% into it, and you certainly come across that in interviews. There's the interest, the love, and the passion there. So would you recommend anybody could build a business on like a passion of theirs? Do you think if there's enough interest, how did you make sure that there was enough there before you started looking to make products and sell things? did you have a plan, or did it just, like you're saying, just grow organically and you just tried it and, made another one?
Yeah, I mean, so I think, can anyone build a business? I think the answer to that is yes. Will they succeed? That's kind of up to them. I think business is really, 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 really fucking hard. It is something that you have to be driven to persevere on a daily basis. And by having a business that's tied into a passion, it makes it easier, because when those days are really, really bad, the bigger vision for what you're trying to build helps get you out of bed and push forward. I've had many failed businesses that never got off the ground because I wasn't really in love with the business. So for me, it's very beneficial to have that passion tied into the business to help me through those down times. But aside from that, I think the people who I work with help it more so than the actual business. My business partners and the team we've built here make it a lot more enjoyable, and they help persevere through those challenging days. And then, but to be good at business, you have to understand finance, you have to understand marketing, you have to understand operations, you have to be able to think through challenges that are going to hit your business in 5 months or 6 months or a year or 5 years, and how are you going to persevere through those issues, and how do you set your business up to be able to be prepared for those issues into the future as well. So it's not just, what is the problem I'm solving today and how do I overcome that, but what is the problem that I may run into in the future and how do I make sure I prepare for that. So business ain't easy, but at the same time, anyone can do it if they're willing to commit to it and they've got thick skin.
No, I love that answer. I keep saying that to people. It's, you don't know until you try. I mean, how did you start persuading guys? I mean, we're notorious for, just wash the hair every so often, throw in a bit of deodorant and go out. How did you make people start paying attention to their grooming and to, that you can start shaping the beard and you can start showing some tender loving care to it? Was there a way that was it a case of bringing other people who are interested in this sort of area, or how can you start encouraging other guys to say, okay, I can start taking a bit more care of my grooming and appearance?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's first of all, we don't make anyone do anything. Like one of our core values is freedom, and we recognize that people are free to buy from us and free to buy from one of our competitors and free to grow a beard or not grow a beard. So we try to inspire and to educate and to show them, but ultimately it's our customers who are deciding to do what they want to do with their beard. But along that lines, through education on YouTube, we've been able to reach a lot of people and show them, the techniques that make having a beard a more enjoyable experience. Because if you've never used a product like a beard oil or a utility balm or beard wash and softener, you may be dealing with this like dry, itchy beard that's, got beard flakes all over the place. And, you don't feel confident about how it grows in because it may look thin or patchy. And then you come and you watch our videos and you realize that, hey, these guys love their beards. They're soft. They smell great. They have a nice, healthy glow to it. People want to be, we've actually, one of my favorite stories is I ran into one of our customers at an event, and he told me, he said, yeah, I was wearing your Spice Citrus beard oil, and my fiance now, at the time, she came up to me and she said she loved the smell of my beard, and that was how they met, was actually through the smell of his beard. That's so, yeah, I'd like to say that Beardbrand's got more successful marriages than The Bachelor. But,
there's a new tagline for you.
Yeah, but it's real. It certainly is real, and fragrance and aroma is such a key indicator to how we perceive people, and it's important to get stuff that aligns with really your personality and who you are, and get stuff that doesn't push people away but instead brings them in.
So, sir, building on that, we're very dominated by like what's in the media, what's in magazines, films, etc. Have you seen a change, with the sort of, well, what people call the hipster look with the beard and the top knots and things like that? Have you seen a change in how beards are portrayed in films and TV shows? Has that brought about a change in your business or the kind of clientele that comes to your site?
Yeah, I mean, when we started, there wasn't a beard on TV. Like, that was like in those early days when I started writing, it was like how to empower people to grow facial hair when there's no inspiration out there. No one on the red carpet had facial hair, not even scruff. And that, since we started, or since I started writing in 2011, has dramatically shifted. And I think it's no longer an issue of like, can I wear a beard in the workplace, as to, what is the best beard style? Just like, what is the best hairstyle and what does the beard style tell about me? So I think we've gotten to the point where the majority of the population is okay with facial hair. And it's no longer about, this kind of like beard rights type of language, but more about just that being the person you want to be and knowing what you're saying about yourself with the decisions you make about your grooming and style routine.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? You never seen somebody on the red carpet with a beard for ages. Everybody was clean shaved. The guy, like the ladies would be in fabulous dresses and shoes, and the guys would be just like mirror image of each other. They may be a wee bit different in their hair. So when did you start seeing this change? Was there certain people like in TV shows, that you can sort of look at and go, he was the first beard person that we noticed, or he's a person that people started mentioning more and more that they wanted their beard to be like? Has there been an inspiration on TV or films that you've heard clients mention?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is, with the internet, the beauty of the internet is you can really niche down and find the person who really inspires your look and your image. I would say, like, from an early day perspective, like a guy like Zach Galifianakis was one of the early guys to bring the beard a little more mainstream. But the funny thing about him is he's a funny guy, right? He's not a model. He's not a style icon.
That's a good guy.
Yeah, but then you saw guys like George Clooney and Ben Affleck rock, shorter beards, like more of the stubble beard. And I think it was at that point that we started to see an increase in the look of the beard. And then there were, I would say, like Instagrammers who really got famous for their styles of beards and long hair and really tattoos, kind of like the beard and tattoo style came about. Guys like Ricky Hall, Carlos Costa, Josh Mario John, Chris Millington, kind of these Instagram celebrities that blew up overnight. And I think they inspired a lot of guys to invest in themselves. And then, of course, I think Beardbrand has had a big part in it, and our YouTube channel and the team that we've built and shared, the content that we've shared as well. So,
I mean, I know that from a lot of the comments on your videos and stuff that people are using you as an inspiration. So who did you look to? What did you find something that worked for yourself and that you were comfortable with? Or did you look to somebody else as an inspiration of how to style yourself maybe in the beginning?
Yeah, for me, I was really involved on an online community called Beardboard. And it was more of like just other guys going through the same thing as me. So there was no style icon. There was no like top dog or anything like that. It was more just like, your friends who lived in different cities, but you could connect with online. And I think that for me was a big part of my journey, was being able to share my wins, my losses, my frustrations, my struggles, and for the other guys to understand that and to share their experiences and help me through it was great. It was a huge benefit.
So there's, for me, because I'm not exactly an expert in this, but I think there's like two different categories when I look at beards. There's either people who it looks really good and it's shaped and maintained right, etc. And then there's ones who you think, oh no, that's not a good look. So can a beard work on everybody? Are there, how do we make sure that the facial hair that we're rocking is suitable for our face and it's groomed and maintained the correct way? Is there a way that, like, is there certain rules and a philosophy that you would adopt or you tell people to remember as they're styling themselves?
Yeah, I think, this is a pretty loaded question because there's different answers to that. And my top recommendation is really to grow the beard that you want to grow and to not worry about other people's input onto your beard, because ultimately you're the person who spends 100% of your time with you and no one else has that same access to yourself. So you've got to love what you're doing and you've got to put yourself above everyone else. Now, that being said, there are some guys who just grow because they want a natural look or because they're lazy or because they like the way it feels or they like the way it makes themselves look. And then there's some guys who grow because they feel like it makes them look more attractive or because they feel it fits their style. So depending on the reason you're growing your beard, you'll have different rules onto how you groom it. So there is generally, in my opinion, there's no ultimatums when it comes to growing a beard. That being said, a common mistake that guys make is they'll shave their neckline a little too high, a little too close to their chin. And they'll also give up on growing their beard too soon. They'll think that their beard's too patchy or won't fill in, and you really need to give your beard a lot of time to see what you have to work with. And then, the other big mistake is they neglect it. They don't take the time and energy to learn how to take care of their beard or how to use beard oils and products to make the experience better.
Because it's definitely something that we've struggled with as men. It's we don't like asking for help, and especially in something where it's like personal, like personal hygiene and stuff like that. So for you to build up this community, it's absolutely amazing. But it's certainly a brand that it says what you need, basically. But for guys who are listening, who are thinking, yeah, that's fine, but I can't grow a beard, I can't grow more than like a little moustache or something like that. Do you have tips for guys on things like diet, for upgrading testosterone, those sort of things? Is there anything we can do if we're not blessed enough to be able to grow a beard that can help us get a half decent facial, mass or something?
Yeah, my recommendation is first and foremost, grow what you got, right? So if you got a great mustache, grow that mustache out. If you got great sideburns, grow your sideburns. It's okay to not have a full beard. It's okay to have, a partial beard or just a goatee or just sideburns or whatever it may be. There are ways to grow your best beard that you can grow within your genetics. And that's by, doing what you said, like boost your natural testosterone through lifting weights, eating leafy green or dark green vegetables and nuts and berries and things like that. Essentially just being healthy and exercising is going to be great for your facial hair, but it's not going to cause you to grow a beard that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to grow. So much of your beard comes down to your own personal genetics. And that's why a lot of our messaging at Beardbrand is about embracing the person who you are, embracing, just like if you're 5'10", you can't do anything. You can't take pills. You can't rub oil on your legs to grow any taller. You're going to be 5'10". And the same is true with, the color of your hair, the texture of your hair, the thickness of your beard. All those are linked into your DNA. So the quicker that you're able to love the person who looks back at you in the mirror, the better experience you're going to have.
And do you have tips on that? I mean, how did it take you time to start to find the look that defines you? How, for people who are never sure about what suits them, how can we look at like a certain moustache or a beard or combination how do we know what works for us, or how can we be comfortable with what we have, and against, like you're saying, jobs where people are saying, oh no, you should be clean shaven and things like that. How can we make sure that the image we're portraying is a true representation of ourselves and we're not pressured into being somebody else that we're not?
Well, I mean, I say just grow what you want and see what happens. Like if you want a big beard, grow it out, see what happens. See what kind of looks you're getting, see what kind of feedback you're getting, see what kind of how people react to it, because people will react to you and they'll say things. Whether or not they should say things is another conversation, but you'll get feedback. And then look at yourself. Take photographs of yourself. Look critically at yourself, and do I like the way that I look here, or do I not like the way I look here? But there's no right or wrong. I've had a short beard, I've had a long beard, I've had a big mustache, I've had a mustache that matches the length of my beard. So I've played around with a lot of different looks, and sometimes change is good as well. Sometimes you don't have to settle and set yourself with just one look. It's fun to grow it, shave it off, and try different things.
So how do you make sure, because there seems to be a lot of changing fads and grooming and stuff. Is that the overarching message of Beardbrand, that grow what is right for you, portray you, the real you? How do you make sure that you're evolving with the times and your brand is, because it seems to be like one of the top brands and that everybody's interested in. So how do you make sure that your brand is still there despite the latest changes, the latest interests, and maybe of the men that are listening?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what we're talking about. And we've never been a brand that's like grow a beard and you'll be more manly, grow a beard to be really cool. It's always just been be the person you want to be. And I think a messaging of the individual and becoming a better individual, I would hope that never ends. I would hope that there's always going to be an audience for people who are looking to get better as individuals. I know there's going to be movement and trends with guys who see the beard as a trend or fashionable or stylish. But I think what we're preaching and what we're talking about, that I don't view it as a trend. I think it's something that's been going on for, as long as humanity. We've been trying to get better. So I think there are other companies out there who don't understand that, who, pressure men to look a certain way or to dress a certain way or to act a certain way, to behave a certain way. And we're okay with people being different.
And that's certainly something that comes across in your message. It's love who you are. And I really enjoy that message of be the person that you want to be, grow into that person. And I think it's something we really all struggle with. We try to be like other people or to fit in. And I loved your message of, no, be the person that you want to be. Use what you want, grow how you want to do it. So when you're building a new product, for example, how do you make sure that the smells are right? How do you get guys in to test them? In an industry that seems quite small in scope of new inventions and stuff, how do you make sure that you're on top of that curve? Because everybody that I looked at loved your beard oils and the smells, and it seemed like you're bringing a new smell out every so often. And how do you tips for product creation? How do you make sure that your products are so good and are what your customers want?
Well, I'd like to say that me as an individual has maybe a competitive advantage as to knowing what smells good and what doesn't smell good, and has the experience and expertise to be able to convey how a fragrance smells and how a product performs and the expectations for the product. So, I don't know, so much of our company is, the fragrance, and we view our organization, our company, to a certain degree to be a fragrance company. Like you said, we do have 8 fragrances. I guess we have a fragrance-free option, but we have 7 different fragrances and a fragrance-free option. So all of the fragrances, I believe, smell incredible. So I think it's just a little bit of inherent talent, like how does do you are you're you know about darts, right? How does a dart player throw a bullseye all the time? They're just kind of do it enough, you get good at it.
True. Yeah, it's one of those questions I always find difficult because some people seem to have a knack of making incredible products that seem to touch people, and when you say to them, "How did you do it?" and they're like, "Yeah, just keep doing it and doing it until we find something that works."
Yeah.
Other people seem to have this long, drawn-out process, and I always find it interesting to see which side of people, because I like how you make the products that you want to use. You're not just looking for the money; you're looking to actually make a good product that's helping men. And men appreciate that. So you mentioned earlier that you're a bootstrapping product. You've been on Shark Tank, which is like the British, well, we call it Dragon's Den over here, where you try get funding for a new product. So what tips do you have for people like that? How can we make sure that if we're going in a similar route, that what the products that we're putting there are attractive to potential investors? Did you find any tips that really worked for you?
I mean, from a business perspective, I think you need to have a business that can tell a story. You've got to learn how to tell a story and bring soul to your company and to the products. So our story is, about my journey of how I wanted to grow my beard out and how I wanted to unite a community of like-minded individuals. And I think if you want to be able to leverage that PR and those opportunities that come about it from not just media, but also from investors and people who want to buy into your brand, to customers, you've got to have a purpose bigger than something in a bottle. Because the reality is, like, anyone can copy our stuff in the bottle and sell it for a lower price, but they can't copy our soul and our brand of our organization.
And you can feel the love and the passion in it when you're watching the videos. You can feel the like how much that you enjoy this and helping others, and the other guys in the videos, like how much they enjoy it. And like even when you were just talking, I think it was when you were just smelling the different brands back and forth, and you were the intrigue of how the smells were coming and how people were finding it. Even though that you've been doing this for so long, the passion is still there, and that's something that's really, really respected of you. So how do you make sure that the guys that are coming in who are just thinking, all right, I'll buy a product, how do you bring them back into the whole brand? How do you bring them into the part of the community and get them into raving fans? Because you seem to be brilliant at it. Is there a way that you kind of bring them into the Beardbrand family?
I think it's not just doing what you said you're going to do, but doing what you said you're going to do, but even better, making a commitment to or setting expectations for what the experience should be like, and then over delivering on those experiences. And I think there's it almost seems, unfortunately, that the norm for customers is an average to subservient. What's the word I'm looking for? Like just average to poor experience with companies and products. And if we can just simply provide something that's better than average and, live up to that, then I think people will be loyal, because there's so many alternatives out there that are just trying to make a quick buck, have no soul, that, are third generation family stuff where the grandkid doesn't care about it. He's just looking for his paycheck. And of course, these are all, fake analogies, not to diss anyone out there who's third generation. Because that's obviously people who are family businesses can be very passionate for the business. So sorry about that rant or tangent, but yeah, man, you just do what you say you're going to do and listen to what the people want.
No, I mean, it's definitely something that you do. You're not just after money. You're after bringing them into like the community and finding out what works for them, giving tips, discussing it, promotion, you can feel the passion that's there. So for somebody that's listening and thinking, right, okay, I'm going to give this a go, what kind of products would you recommend they try first? Is there a kind of try this, then this, or is it a case of try an oil, try a trimmer, try, like how should we start this change in our appearance and our grooming?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is, it's not really the product that is the first part. It's that commitment to that investment in yourself. Because if you come in expecting this product to do wonders and magical things for you and give you incredible hairstyles and beard styles, then you're going to be disappointed. But if you come into it saying like, okay, I want to learn how to have a cool hairstyle, I want to learn how to have a cool beard style, and then what are those products that will help me get there, that's going to be the better pathway. Because I could say, oh yeah, start with a utility balm because it can do anything that you need for your beard or your skin or your hair. But if you get the utility balm expecting it to be like a styling product when it's a conditioning product, that's really on you for not investing in your education. So yeah, there's not a magic product out there that's going to solve all your issues and get you going. But if you do invest in yourself, if you go to Beardbrand YouTube channel and you start watching the videos, then that's going to be a huge impact on your look, your style, and your investment.
And would you recommend particular accessories and products? Like say for a guy who they've maybe had a Gillette razor and they've had like some shaving gel and now they're thinking, okay, I'll try growing my beard. What are the kind of must-have accessories that every guy should have for a beard? Is it just like trimming scissors? Is there a particular grooming tool that you'd recommend, or is that a case of just whatever works for you?
Yeah, I mean, really, like if I had to be honest here, Ian, I would just say go to beardbrand.com. Every single product you see, just buy maybe like 3 of each of them, and you'll be good at set for life. But yeah, I mean, personally, I'll tell you my personal preferences. Personally, I love our combs. Our cellulose acetate combs are amazing products. I have like 20 of them, just one in the car, one in the house, one in the office, a couple in like random coat jackets, some in just pants. Like they're just everywhere. So you can't ever have too many combs. And our combs are made completely different than the cheap stuff that you get at your local pharmacy. They just glide through your beard, they glide through your hair. They're amazing products. And then we have scissors. Like if you have a longer beard, I recommend using scissors over a beard trimmer. But if you have a shorter beard, like a scruff beard, then I think a good set of trimmers are going to be good. Something from like Andis or Brio are a couple brands. And then the conditioning products, personally, I love having the beard oil in my beard. I'm a beard oil guy when it comes to my facial hair. But when it comes to if I'm dealing with dry skin, then that's when I'm using my utility balm to help hydrate my skin. And then in the shower, it's my beard wash and my beard softener. So there's a lot of products for different purposes. Styling products, our styling balm is great for like controlling the beard, taming flyaways. So if your problem is a dry and itchy beard, you'll want to go with the utility balm. But if your problem is beard flyaways and, a mustache that's a little unruly, then you'll want to go with a styling balm.
And we'll have links to all the products because I never found one product when I was doing my research that people didn't seem to like. People love the smell, the feel, the texture. And for me, it was like, where do I start? I've always been the clean shaven or the patchy guy. Like I couldn't seem to grow something decent. So have you got any tips for people who are thinking, okay, but my beard just comes in patches? Is it a case of just waiting, or is there anything we can do to make it look more of a man's beard, so to speak?
Yeah, I think generally the best rule of thumb when it comes to a patchy beard is you can always get away with scruff or like a 5 o'clock shadow. Like no matter how patchy it is, you see James Franco that way, Johnny Depp, and then pair that in with whatever your best attribute is. So like if you can grow a great goatee, or if you can grow a great mustache or great sideburns, then let those grow in, and then keep everything else at that 5 o'clock shadow, that scruff length, and just that little bit of dimension beyond being completely shaven is going to completely shift the way that your face looks. And then from there, anecdotally, there's been some evidence that using Rogaine on your face can help the terminal hairs that were going to come in sooner. Now, I haven't seen any scientific evidence to verify those claims, so I generally don't like recommending it because it's using a product against the directions of the manufacturer, and those are over-the-counter drugs. The brand name is Rogaine, and the drug name is minoxidil.
You found you're now even married, you've got a child and stuff. How has your own beard evolution taken place? Are you changing as you get older? Do you find your beard changes as you age? From when you were younger to older, is there certain products that like an older guy should take compared to a younger guy, or is it depending on their sort of facial hair and their ethnicity and all that kind of things?
Yeah. I mean, there's you can just scroll down my Instagram feed to see how frequently my looks change. I think, 1 week to the next, I'm almost rocking a different look. So. Just scroll down my Instagram feed and you'll see it all going back to like 2013 or 2014 and kind of see the evolution that I've had. But from the tips, we have over 600 videos now, I think. So we've got, hours and hours and hours and hours of content. And we could probably have this podcast for, 3 straight days with all the various tips that guys could have depending on their needs. But like, one specific tip, like if you're an older guy with a gray beard, then consider maybe like once a week or twice a week using a violet shampoo. And a violet shampoo is something that will help keep your beard white of color rather than, maybe a yellowish hue or tint that may develop over time by using colors that are using products that aren't crystal clear or white. So, that could be like a little hack or a tip for someone specific to their occasion. But really, your best bet is just to go to the Beardbrand YouTube channel and search whatever your need is, and then follow it with Beardbrand, because the chances are we've done a video on that topic.
And so, I mean, for somebody that's listening who starts giving it a go and shaping their beard, and it becomes the beard that they want, how do we utilize this in our lives? How do we build this into our fashion, making it about ourselves? How do we make that part of our everyday lives? Is there something that you would recommend to people that change their wardrobe? Should they go to the gym? Is there anything like a challenge or the next step that guys should do when they start paying more attention to this sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a natural evolution. Like for me, growing my beard out was, it segued into investing into hairstyles. And then that segued into understanding clothes and style, and then picking out the right clothes that fit me. So for me, that journey started with beard care. But for a lot of guys, maybe that journey starts with, automobiles, whatever that, or watches or something like that, whatever that catalyst is, use it as a catalyst to start that investment into yourself. So there is no one path that's recommended. You got to do the path that aligns with you and helps you on your journey. So, but yeah, my pathway was beard, then hair, then my apparel, my clothes.
So, and you've had is it a wee daughter?
Yeah, Sheila is a little 4-year-old.
So, I mean, has that changed your outlook on life? Have you adapted how you work in business and things like that? I mean, how do you juggle the demands of like being a father, running a business, new products, and all these sort of things? How do you keep so many balls going up in the air?
I'm very lucky to have a great wife who has supported me and encouraged me and been by my side. And it's challenging. I don't think any entrepreneur would say that they're allocating their time appropriately between themselves, their business, their family, and their kids, their spouses. So it's definitely a juggling act, but you just kind of have to find that balance, keep that communication open, and make the sacrifices where it's appropriate so that you're not neglecting any of those core aspects of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing is we sometimes get so focused on the one thing that we forget that there's all these other things. And I always say to people, it's like, yeah, it's great to have a passion, but just make sure you're not neglecting the people that matter and keep the other aspects of things going. Right. So what do you think the future of Beardbrand is going to be? What can we look forward to for like fans of the brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of the stuff we're currently doing, but better. So we're making great products, and then how do we make great products that are for your hair and for your skin? So we're going to continue to evolve our product offering beyond the beard. And then you look at our content, and we're going to figure out ways to continue to develop content and deliver that content in a way that fits into people's lives. And then a big focus for us this year is how do we grow our community and how do we really help our audience connect and learn from each other. So we'll be implementing initiatives to grow and improve our community and probably more in-person events like that our audience can connect with each other and focus on that. So I think that's going to be a big thing for us in 2018.
So what's the go away message that you want anybody listening to take from this? Is there a kind of philosophy or an idea or a outlook on life that you want them to take? Well, apart from going to your site and buying products, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be summed up with our tagline, which is keep on growing. And to me, that means obviously it's kind of tongue in cheek to our growing out your beard or growing out your hair, but it's really more about growing as an individual and to keep on pushing your comfort level and trying new things and becoming a better version of yourself every single day. That's what we want people to do. We want them to keep on growing. And we believe that as men continue to invest in themselves, that they'll have the power and energy to invest in their families and to invest in their communities and invest into their careers. And that ultimately is going to make the world a better place. That investment in yourself through action, essentially be the person you want the world to be. So if you want the world to be nicer, then you start being nicer. If you want the world to be more friendly, you start doing that. If you want the world to be less hungry, then you go out and you start feeding the hungry. So be the change that you want in life.
No, and I love that message. It's evolution rather than stagnation. It's just keep adapting and moving in times. You've got a fantastic brand there, and it's amazing to see the success you're having. I haven't heard a bad word about them yet, except that there's not enough smells. People want more and more. They want to keep trying it because they love different products and stuff. So the second last question I always ask is, what's an unusual fact about yourself? That you've got so many videos, you've got so much stuff on there, but what's something about you that when you tell people they go, what? Have you got something that kind of blows people away when you tell them?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm a pretty ordinary dude, but for people who watch our videos or read the blogs and then they meet me in person, They don't realize I'm a pretty tall dude. So I'm 6'5", which I guess would be about like 197 centimeters for all of our metric guys out there. So not a lot of people taller than me.
Well, I cannot say thank you enough for this, because it's one of these things that you've got a great brand, you've built up a great community, you're such a warm, humble person, and you're one of those people that everybody recommended to chat to, and I can certainly see why. You know, you've given some absolute gems and some tidbits from this. So how can anybody listening keep in touch, see future products, and, you know, like link up in social media? You know, what do you want them to do, to anybody listening, to do next?
Yeah, I mean, my recommendations are, if you want to interact with me, Twitter is the best place for that. So if you have a quick question, if you want my style inspiration and guidance and kind of what's going on at Beardbrand, then Instagram is going to be great for that. And then I do have a personal vlog as well on YouTube that I'll update occasionally. I kind of share my insights on the world and how to become a better person beyond the beard. So all those, if you just search Eric Bandholz, I'm the only Eric Bandholz out there, and you'll be able to find my content.
Okay, well, I cannot say thank you enough for this. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I can understand why you've got such a high regard. You know, everybody seems to love you, and I can certainly understand it now. So the floor is open to you. If there's any speeches, any products coming out, anything that you want people to be aware of, it's open season for you.
Well, no, I mean, I just appreciate you having me on the show and allowing me to tell my story. And, you know, hopefully if people found value in our conversation, that they just search it out. And really what I would love for them to do, beyond buying anything from Beardbrand, is taking a moment to continue to invest in themselves and do the things that they need to do to become better versions of themselves.
Perfect. Well, I can't say anything better than that. It's been a pleasure, Eric, and I'll send you the links, etc., when it's ready, and I wish you nothing but success for the future. You've got a great brand, and you should be very proud of what you're doing.
Thank you.
How you're changing lives.
That's it for another week. Thanks for listening. Absorb it, practice it, use it. Until next time, keep trying to hit that next level in your life.